And we are here with Katja and Tuomas. Hello, fellows.
Hello, hello.
Hello, dear colleagues.
So, Katja, just straight to the point. You are heading sales here at Paptic. So, what was your key takeaway from Anna's presentation regarding the packaging and packaging waste regulation?
Oh, well, for me, the biggest takeaway, I think, is that there are still a lot of open questions. So we talk on the market every day nowadays on the PPWR, but still the definitions especially are still missing. And I think those are the ones who eventually set the details on the whole thing. So we are still a bit in the dark in a sense. But there still are quite a few facts also, like in circularity point of view, the recyclability at scale, that is now more or less set. And of course, from Paptic point of view, we are a monomaterial. We have the recycling system in place. So that is something that is what we know at this point.
So the basic blocks for building further are quite strong from our perspective. I at least see it that way.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Very good. Then Tuomas, our CEO and co-founder of Paptic, what was your key takeaway from Lars' presentation regarding plastic recycling?
I think that was excellent because kind of the themes from a growth company perspective, looking at the scalability and impact point of view. And then I think, Hanna, you said it already, but I think the opportunities with the mechanical recycling are rather limited. And they will be limited. So it's good, it's a good first step, but it's not going to help, for example, large brands to satisfy their kind of packaging circularity challenges. So there needs to be the next steps. And then thanks to Lars, we learned a lot about these different physical and chemical recycling technologies, which was kind of a bit of like abundance of options. To me, what seems that I think we are still probably looking for what is the silver bullet or the best technology around for the recycling, but what is for sure is that it's not going to be easy. It's a long way to find those technologies. There's a lot of investments needed to scale up, and I think Lars also pointed out that it's not just the technology scale, it's also like systemic innovations. How do we improve this recovery collection systems, which are also so national in many cases that I think there's a lot to do in that respect. But I think from the planet impact point of view, it's going in the right direction. But what I'm just concerned is that kind of, for example, taking into account like large brands and their sustainability strategies to like 2025, 2030. I think 2030 is arriving rather soon.
Yes, it is arriving rather soon. But just referring what you have said earlier, that Paptic is focused on replacing unnecessary plastics. And I think that there is quite, when really, again, going to the definitions, what is unnecessary plastic? So there are quite a lot of that in packaging at the moment. And as we made a little survey some time ago over the biggest brands in the world, then and summarized that what are their key priorities. It's the climate change mitigation, reduction of plastics in packaging, and going to circular solutions. So in that sense, the momentum and the time point is there exactly now.
Exactly, and I think what you said, the unnecessary plastics are often like plastic components in a multi-material package, which is basically making the recycling more complex, and like Anna educate us on the design for recycling. Monomaterial packages are ranking higher because they're easier for the recyclability. So in many cases, Paptic is doing exactly that, helping brands to simplify their packaging, finding fiber-based, recyclable at scale solutions for the kind of last plastic components in the packaging. Indeed,
yes. Yes, we have quite many nice examples of that how a certain piece of plastic has been able to be replaced with Paptic, for example, in solutions where carton board boxes are being used, and then some inner packaging materials have earlier been plastics. But that is just one example, though quite a big example worldwide. But hey, Katja, let's go to sort of your desk. You have chosen a few nice customer cases where our customers have really made it a reality, replacing plastics with Paptic. Which would you like to present first?
Yes, this is now a snapshot of what we have done with the customers, obviously. Quite a different variety of end users, but maybe I start maybe the biggest pouch or package. So here really the impact has been quite a huge eventually. So this is a pillow package by Familon, and here actually there were, in a previous package it was plastic pouch, and there were 8 different materials involved in that packaging. Obviously not all even recyclable or not going at least on the same recycling stream. But now with our solution, combined with carton board, all the packaging materials go to the same recycling stream. And by this change, Familon has been able to reduce the plastic amount, which is equals to million plastic bags a year.
And from sustainability perspective, I hear that this is now handprint thinking. So how much are the avoided emissions?
Exactly.
And that's something that we calculate quite often with our customers. At least it's on my desk, because customers want to reduce their emissions, so they also want to do the calculation if they were still packing with plastics, which is fossil, and if incinerated, then the fossil carbon is being released to atmosphere, instead of then using Paptic with much lower carbon footprint, then there is a quite big difference.
Exactly.
And it's a positive impact.
Absolutely.
Very good.
Yes, and these are on the market more globally even. We had just in Italy, for example, a customer case with Dorsal, which we were able to release, and that is more printed design to elevate also the brand image.
And a good example is talking about brand image, kind of talking about soft products, so kind of a nice soft haptic, so kind of nicely follows kind of the quality aspect of the product. So I think this is a good example of how to build on the intrinsic kind of values and properties of Paptic materials.
Exactly, the strength of our material really plays a role here.
Yeah, and it was a lovely project to notice that how sort of eager designers want to find something more sustainable, and then they just to explore the innovative materials, and then they also sort of mapped a variety of innovative materials, noticing that not all of them really were recyclable at scale.
Exactly.
But then they ended up to this. We couldn't be more happy about this, of course. But Katja, let's go further. What else do you have here?
Yes, of course. And this is one of the latest packaging innovations on the market. So this is the original from Footprint Tools. Line pins, and the packaging itself actually is quite the original, even because it's cardboard and a monomaterial plastic, so both are recyclable if you separate them. But lately they chose the Paptic made pouch, which is of course going to one recycling stream on its own. It is strong enough, and it is eventually smaller package. So there are a lot of benefits related to that fact, of course. You can have more products on the shop floor on a pin, and obviously the logistics and transportation costs by weight and by size are reduced. So this is one of the examples, and typically these kind of tools are also in the PVC material pockets, which is yes,
Thumbs down. Yeah.
thumbs down.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Good example.
Looking good.
Yeah, and also quite nicely communicated to consumers that this is classified as paper, so put it to the paper and paperboard recycling bin. Because communicating consumers is another dimension that our customers definitely want to do better. Again, it also becomes a regulation soon. but also it's something that the brands want to do by themselves in order to really show and also to educate consumers. Good.
Correct.
Very nice example.
What's next?
Next,
There's more.
the world of vegetables, also touched by Anna in her presentation. So here we are actually quite active on the market, obviously due to the regulation has already kicked in on some markets. And this is one of the examples we have created. It actually won the World Star Award this year. And this is to pack 1 kilo of onions in a sustainable way. So instead of plastic-based material, it's now fully on monomaterial. And what we did here was that obviously the material is very lightweight. So this is actually a 40 GSM material, which can carry 1 kilo of onions. And even when rather roughly handled, it can endure the round objects. And the project was made together with partners. So we had all the sustainability aspects taken into account. Reduction of printing inks was made by the greener printing technology of Marvaco, which expands the color gamut with less inks. And we use the Flint cradle-to-cradle inks, which are then the sustainable alternative on the market.
Great.
So this is a nice one. And also the feedback from Puukin Tila, who packed the onions, was said that the onions actually had a longer shelf life in fridge than in the previous packaging.
And that's a great criteria for sustainable packaging. If you can decrease the food waste, improve the shelf life of the products. And I think this is a good example that why actually it's good to have packaging.
Exactly, packaging is needed and preserve the goods.
And it also protects from light, because now we also heard in Anna's presentation that the vegetables and the vegetables greening of the vegetables is something, a dimension that should be taken into consideration when thinking of the packaging solution. And for that reason, if plastics has been used earlier, the plastic has been printed plastics, so it hasn't been transparent. So in that sense, it doesn't make a difference if you choose that from transparency perspective. But how about then, did Puukin Tila need to buy another packaging line in order to have Paptic taken to use?
Yeah, absolutely not.
So no new packaging lines needed.
No new packaging lines needed. So actually the benefits are that our material is so soft and it behaves in a very same way as plastic on turns and handling of the packaging machines. So it can really be run on the existing packaging lines without much modifications and definitely no investments needed. So that's an easy adapting part, and we are developing, because there still are questions about the window and seeing the products inside. So we are now as we speak running trials on such solutions too.
Good to know.
But this is not the only veggie topic we have. We are also supporting the net pack change. So from the plastic net packs, there is a transformation to these sustainable fiber-based material net packs. But the tag was still very much plastic and is on most markets plastic based, but we can provide solution also for this end use. So again, the whole package, even if it looks exactly the same as the previous one, is now fully, besides the metal clamps, it's still fiber based all the way through.
Exactly.
And earlier it was fossil plastics and now it's renewable raw material. Good.
Correct.
And again, thanks to the great strength of Paptic, the flexibility, again falls in the same converting lines, packing lines, without any changes. So that's the way to do it.
Yes.
Good.
Correct.
And these are just very few picks from the examples that we have. So we see that a lot of actions are taking place in different countries. Do you Katja have more samples, or do we go to Tuomas table?
We can go to Tuomas table, and obviously we have a lot more on the market, but not samples in here. You might come across of our material here and there if you look closely.
Very good. I actually was hoping for that after hearing about the packaging lines and how Paptic can be taken to use there. But then going to Tuomas, that how do you see then the availability of Paptic material? Then is another question what we receive quite often from our customers and our potential customers. How would you like to comment on that? Availability of Paptic materials.
I'll start with the metaphor. I see the future is bright, although we are now in November in Finland, so it's probably the darkest place in the world. But I think the availability, there are different aspects, but I think the one priority aspect is that we have a really clever business model. By combining our product, the technology, the existing manufacturing assets, which helps our scalability radically. And basically we are already today globally available. And I believe it's 40-50 countries we have already delivered our material. Last year already, our revenue was it 15% came outside Finland, outside Europe, and majority is outside Finland. I think that just proves the fact that we are already in a global business. Some of our customers are taking our materials into use in Far East Asia, where the products are being manufactured and packed, like for electronics applications, where, for example, the non-scratch property of Paptic is an excellent feature. So I think that's just the fact that for us, seeking impact, seeking scale, it's a global thing, and that's how we need to address it. Of course, we cannot go everywhere at once, so we need to take control steps. But already today, we are available at scale, like we are recyclable at scale. That's due to the kind of nice business model we have, and I think that's just improving in the next stages, because basically with now having kind of funds in our balance sheet, so that's where we are investing for the availability, further availability of Paptic in new markets, in new geographies. But Europe is today our focus, but expansion in other markets, that's the next step.
So what are then the markets where we are aiming for? It is a sort of a question for you both, CEO and Chief Sales Officer.
Yeah, well, we do get more and more inquiries all the time, constantly from across the seas, both seas, and that is obviously something we want to tackle. And we are actually right now also defining the way how to do it. Obviously, our material is still rather technical, so it requires some instructing at site when taken into use, although it works splendidly, but it is not kind of intuitively operated in a way it needs to be. So therefore we need to have a presence as Paptic in those even in those far off locations to serve the market in the best way.
Yeah, and then basically where to focusing on the right applications, where create the most added value and especially impact, focusing on the supply chains that we can manage. And as an example, we can already manage global supply chains, manufacturing our material in Europe, shipping that to Far East, and then distributing, perhaps we distribute globally. So that's already what we are doing, but I think we need to do that in a controlled way, because as you, Katja, said, we have a technical product and we need to make sure that the availability, the reliability of the supply chain is at maximum. So kind of taking control steps, focusing on the right applications, and globalization of Paptic, that's the target.
Very good. We have some questions online. Do we want to take them?
Yes, of course.
Good.
I would say that first one goes to Katja. Can Paptic materials be taken to use in hygiene products?
Yes. First of all our materials are food contact certified, so that is for hygiene materials the first, I think, requirement, so they are safe and absolutely. They are lightweight, they are soft
They're safe.
and silent, which is surprisingly important in hygiene products too. So yes, why not?
Sounds good. Then another question that is that plastic packaging obviously has a price advantage. How much more expensive is Paptic compared to plastic alternatives? And then the question poser says that of course I'm not taking into consideration plastic recycling, carbon dioxide emission costs or other these kind of variables. So quite a wise question. Yeah.
But yes, of course the material itself has a price, but we rather talk about the value of the solution, because as mentioned here also a couple of times that our material has advantages of not needing investments taken into use. It runs rather well and fast on packaging lines, so there is no reduction on packing speed. It is strong, so there is less product waste on after packing. So we like to always calculate with the customers the whole impact of the project rather than talking only about the material price, which is related to this
Exactly.
adaptation.
And building on that, like again, like the footprint tools example, redesigning the packaging for recyclability. It's not a material to material comparison. It's the
Indeed.
packaging solution for the brand that matters. Secondly, because Paptic is strong, lightweighting is a really important factor. That's the resource efficiency. In some and many cases, if you can reduce the weight of the package by 50%, that's a huge advantage as well. So kind of
It
talking about the
also means
solution.
50% less raw material, so
Exactly.
it can be counted out in quite many ways that how many benefits there are about lightweighting.
Exactly.
And lightweighting is something that the packaging is then a bit lighter in weight, but actually it provides you quite many benefits.
Yeah.
It's good to really open up and calculate it open. And to add on that as well was that what Anna said about the recyclability, the grades of recyclability, in a way that if they are affecting to the EPR costs, then it means that already now we know that the multi-plastics, or those plastics that are combined of different kinds of plastic qualities have the highest cost, then the monomaterial plastics the next one, and then the monomaterial papers are having the lowest cost. And let's see if that will sort of be revised. Maybe also the prices will be increased, because the pricing of those kind of costs is also a steering mechanism to get to the target.
Exactly.
Good. All right, then next question is that do you apply any coating or varnish to give barriers or to protect the material itself?
We do not. So our core competence is on creating the best fiber-based material to support the packages. And there is converters in the world, quite few of them, which are the experts on providing barriers to any need. And our material can be treated in all the same ways as the papers on the market. So barriers are available, but we are not focusing today on developing those.
And again, I think that's well aligned with our business model. So we are focusing on our core with the strong base material, and we are partnering with battery chemical and converter companies, because that's their cup of tea.
Yeah. Sounds good. And we have been now saying quite strongly that flexible packaging is our focus area. Tuomas, would you have the figures to be given by heart? That what are really the sort of, how big is the market of flexible packaging and what is the share of plastics currently?
That's a good question, because flexible packaging market is huge and it's diverse, which is good to know that it's divided in so many different application areas. But in volumes, talking about that, it's tens of millions of tons of materials. And from that volume, I think it's by vast majority, it is plastics. And one of the reasons why we are focusing on the flexible packaging is for the reason that we have a great material for the application, but also from the bigger perspective, if you think about those flexible packaging materials often are heavily printed, multi-layered, complex for recycling, lightweight, difficult to collect. So that's actually an area where easily recyclable at scale fiber-based solutions can actually create a great impact. So I think that's the reason why we are targeting that. So it's more than it's billions and billions of euros of potential in that market.
And wasn't it so that 70% of the materials are currently plastics? So and the eagerness to find alternatives is huge. So in that sense, it opens up quite a big potential for us. And we are naturally happy to help our customers to make the change.
Exactly.
Yes.
Good. Let's check if there are still some questions. Hi, this is to Tuomas. You stated that Paptic is available on scale. What does this mean in yearly tonnage?
Very good question. We are right now at scale of some single thousands of tons, but already with our current manufacturing fleet, we can scale up by multiple X from that. So we don't see the scalability of volumes from the capacity perspective our challenge. That's the benefit of our manufacturing model, but definitely what regards to scalability, that's not the scale where we are aiming at. In the end of the decade, we should be in a six-figure global capacity volume, so hundreds of thousands of tons, because we know that that's achievable because we are talking about a business where economies of scale matter. And while moving to larger capacities, we can improve the manufacturing efficiency, but right now in single thousand tons, that's the volume right now. And of course, we've been scaling up at 2x pace for many years, so I think that's the pace that we are keeping up for the future. That's where we're putting the bar for our growth, what defines our growth.
Good. That's where we're going to. We have a good business model and good solutions, customers willing to find replacement for plastics. We have regulation in place that is supporting our innovation and also the same development. So very good. I think that Katja and Tuomas, it's time to thank now. Thanks for the discussion, and special thanks also for our keynote speakers, Anna Papagrigorakis and Lars Krause. Anna from SEPI and then Lars from Nova Institute for giving us really excellent keynotes. And thank you all the people online. Thanks for following us. And let's then take other session in next open house, and let's be in touch. Thank you very much. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.